All right. Here today with Renzo Gracie, Naples, Florida. Busy man.
Yeah.
You might be one of the only people I know that's busier than me. You were just saying
I am.
No days off in 5 months.
Yes, no 5 months. So with this project here, building Renzo Gracie Naples, it's very tough to manage that and Connecticut location at the same time. So I am, no days off for 5 months and building it.
I know the feeling. I just had my first day off of 2022 on Saturday.
Yeah. So. See, I mean, when you want to get somewhere, you have to push way farther than the normal person would, and that means just sacrificing all of your free time, So it's part of having goals,
Yep, and something we learn daily in jiu-jitsu, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So, like I said, I know you're busy, won't keep you too long. Just got a few questions for you. Always been super impressive to me and a big influence. I miss taking your classes big time. Got to get you back into Midtown. What came first for you, business or jiu-jitsu?
So it was always jiu-jitsu first. And
Nice.
That's something that Renzo, first of all, let me say, I can't wait. I couldn't wait to be on the podcast here. I've been looking forward to it. Our schedules have been a little crazy lately. It's been hard to match it up, but I've been really looking forward to getting on your podcast and talking a lot in depth about all of this stuff. Let me fix this. Hopefully it's going to stay in one place. But yeah, so for me, it's always been jiu-jitsu first and values first. So that's something that Renzo instilled in us right from the beginning. And to understand it properly, you have to kind of look back at that time. During that time, jiu-jitsu wasn't a business at all. There was no business of jiu-jitsu. It was so primitive that, it was basically people would just come in, hand the instructor some money to train, and that was it. So there was no business of it, right? So with that being said, Renzo would always instill to us, like, listen, the money is always not what we care about. We're not in this for money. It was very apparent they weren't in it for money. There was no money involved yet. So the values always came first. And Renzo holds the tradition of jiu-jitsu in the roots and the structure of it so high. And he instilled that in all of his students. Like, we knew the history of it. We knew everything there was to know about Carlos and all of his sons and the history of the family. He was really big on the students being part of that tradition and understanding where it came from and respecting it at all times. So that led to a culture that the foundation, the very root of the entire team is built off values. And that's something that he still holds to this day, to be very, close to his heart. So,
yeah, it's evident in my interactions with him as well. It's really obvious. Yeah. That's great. So was Milford your first school?
So we actually moved. I was in West Haven, Connecticut, which is the town over.
Okay.
I relocated after I went through a pretty bad divorce, and I had to actually move locations into a different town. So yeah, so I did start that academy in West Haven in 2007. I was a brown belt 3-stripe when I opened that academy in Connecticut. It was the first Gracie Academy in Connecticut, and that was, again, 2007. And when I first opened it, it was, again, the whole entire business of jiu-jitsu was kind of just so primitive. At that time, we were kind of taking concepts from karate schools and trying to just apply them to our model, which was vastly different, right? Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of adaptation and interpretations, and it was hard to adjust, but we did. We came up with a really good model at the end of the day after 25 years of being in the industry and actually being the pioneers in it and forging the so to say, in the industry. Just for a little data, now when that started, that was 1996 when Renzo started in New York City. 1996, we started one academy, about 30 of us, me, Matt, Sarah, Ricardo Almeida, Rodrigo Gracie. There was very few of us in the beginning. And that was one little academy with 30 people. And now, 26 years later, there's 94 locations and we're in 21 different countries all over the world. So within that time, we just blew up, and we've learned a lot about the industry as a result from that growth.
Yeah. Did you see Renzo's interview on London Real with Brian Rose?
I didn't. I can't wait to see it. I keep hearing about it, and
it's
I'm really
great
big on watching
interview.
all of his interviews. Yeah, I'm gonna watch that next.
And
that's my next one that I'll be watching.
He talks so much about business in that interview, and Brian really tees it up nicely. But to hear Renzo, they don't really talk about jiu-jitsu. I mean, maybe in a way, because like what you were talking about, like adaptation and interpretation. I mean, that's martial arts, right? Especially jiu-jitsu. It's every body type and personality type is gonna take the same techniques and do it slightly differently. And it sounds like in a business sense, you all were able to do the same and maneuver your way into the top position, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, and it was very difficult. There was a lot of ups and downs, but we ended up coming up with a really good, solid model that works for everybody, because that was the biggest challenge for the industry and the business of jiu-jitsu in the beginning. And the adaptation, when we talk about that adaptation, was jiu-jitsu was hardcore. I mean, there was no bullshit, right? You go in there, you're getting tapped out instantly if you don't know anything. You're getting completely submitted, and your just ego just handed to you on the first day. So it was really rigorous. So as a result, in those beginning years when we had those first 30 guys, the dropout rate was about 98%. You walk in the door, 98% of the people walk in and walk right back out. It was just too hardcore. So what we had to do was come up with a model based on the average person, and that the average person would be able to, stick with it, and it wasn't so hardcore. So we had to kind of incrementally get harder on the student and start off very easy and very, soft on people, because, not everybody's really as hardcore as some of us upper level guys are, so again, 90% of people would just walk out the door when they get into that much of a challenge. So we have to, it's kind of incrementally walking up that ladder of getting the intensity to the level where we need it to be from the art standard. And that was the gap that we had to bridge. It was very difficult. Bridged. I remember exactly when it happened. It was right around the year 2003, 2004. So we were pretty much learning the whole process from 96 all the way to 2003, 2004, and then that's when we really came up with a really solid model. And credit goes to Gene Dunn. I remember Gene Dunn is a Renzo Gracie black belt, and he's also a very successful martial art owner. So he had many karate schools. Even back in the 90s, he had a very successful karate school with hundreds of students. So we were able to take his principles and warp them and change them to adapt to jiu-jitsu. And ultimately, we finally nailed down that model in around 2003, 2004. And as a result, Renzo's New York City went from, I think like a couple hundred students in 2 years all the way up to the largest martial art academy in the world with almost 1,500 students. So it went from 300 to 1,500 in a couple of years as soon as we locked that model down, and then that's when we spread throughout the world.
Right, scaling in a massive way. In a massive
way, man.
Now I've noticed a couple different formats in terms of his students and the way they open schools. There's some that just straight up open, like yourself, Renzo Gracie, Milford, Renzo Gracie, Naples. You've got Silver Fox in New Jersey, and he's, Silver Fox, BJJ, Team Renzo Gracie, and I've seen another, I think Pete Lawson's school is similar to that. It's like a Team Renzo Gracie, and then you've got other students Like I think Gene and Brian schools, Brooklyn Jiu Jitsu.
Correct.
They're just
Correct.
all on their own. Can you weigh out kind of like the pros and cons of each?
Absolutely. So what that is really is just a question of, do you want to build personal brand or not, right? And so for guys like Silver Fox, Matt Serra, which are my brothers, I love these guys to death. They wanted to build their own solid personal brand. Silver Fox already had his own brand that was a strong school already, so he just incorporated the team, and that made perfect sense for him in his business model. Matt Serra was, the first American student of Renzo and the first black belt American student from Renzo. So, and obviously got into the UFC and became champion. So he had his own identity. So if you have your own identity that's that big or already pre-established, then it makes sense to go with making your own brand. Or you could just want your own personal security that way and feel, it might be, for me, just I might feel safer to have my own personal brand that I'm completely in control of myself only, right? And then also the pros of that are that you can go and start your own associations. For instance, Silver Fox has his own association with, 3 or 4 schools. I know he has one that they just opened up down in Florida.
Right.
Same thing with Matt Serra. He has multiple locations, and then they can charge an association fee to those locations to open up. So that's another pro for, that specific business model. And what they do is they have their own brand, and then you can also display Team Renzo Gracie anywhere you want. So the Team Renzo Gracie logo, as you notice, like for instance in Matt Serra's, it's inside of his academy on the wall. He says Team Renzo Gracie everywhere. Same thing with Silver Fox.
Right.
So it's a great way to go. I think it's, it's really just preference. And then there's the obvious other side of it, which is the actual Renzo Gracie Academy, and the actual brand. So for someone like me that started off as one of Renzo's first American students, and I wasn't concerned about competition, I really just, it's funny because John Donaher is another one of my best friends that I grew up training with my whole life on the mats in New York City. And the reason he got involved in jiu-jitsu is very similar to mine. We're just obsessed with the art. I love the art so much, the science of the art. Competition doesn't really excite me myself, but I just love learning the art myself and then applying it to help other people become successful and to strengthen the human, right? To make stronger human beings on earth, to help society. So that's where my goal was. So for me, being part of that foundation in New York City, it made more sense for me to align with Renzo and to help build the brand, right? Because I was in the ground floor of that brand. I had no interest in competing at all, right? So I wanted to help Renzo build the brand, and his vision has always been to have 93 academies and hundreds of academies, probably more. His vision was, and that was always his vision in the beginning. He always said to us in the beginning, I want our team to be worldwide, and I want to spread this art throughout the world. And I just aligned with Renzo directly, and that made more sense for me. And, I just love being part of the brand and building the actual brand that we started in 1996,
Outstanding, man. Great. Oh, we could do like 2 hours just on the history. You're like a walking history book, man. This is so much more than I anticipated.
I am fascinated with the history of it. I am, to me, it's the most important part of it is the actual history and the legacy, the traditions, and those of us that are on this team and that do represent the brand, we are just an extension of the family that is helping, continue the work of the family, the Gracie family, and what they've done for, almost 150 years now.
Amazing. Speaking of competition, congratulations. Jessen's win on Friday night. I was streaming it live from the bar. I had it on while I was working. And he was nestled right between Yaruk and Eli, who I train with regularly in Jamie's class. And I've never trained with Jessen, but I talk to him all the time. Every time he's in Midtown, I talk to him. And impressive young man and an impressive win against a guy that looked like like a wrestler, and Justin out wrestled the shit out of him. It was great, man. It was so great. So congratulations on that, and I'll make sure to tell him the same when I see him in Midtown.
It was a great night for the team. It was a great night for those young amateurs that are coming up, the next generation of Renzo Gracie Academy. It's just, it was inspiring to see them out. These kids, they're a different breed, you know.
Yeah.
And to just be a part of that.
It is. You know, I've been training with Jamie and in his class with his crew since September, and it's interesting to watch fights with guys that you train with. You see them in there. You know, when they close the cage, what they have to face, and to see them win with the things that we've all been training and have been learning for so long. It changes the way you look at the sport. It changes the way you're no longer a spectator anymore. It's really it's a great thing to be a part of. I'm really enjoying it. Aside from
human achievement, you know, to dig so deeply.
It really is. So aside from the academies, you've also created an app for your schools. Do you want to talk about that briefly? Because when you said that to me, what you really were explaining that to me at the academy that day, blew my mind. But I get see your excitement too, which is an indicator of me that you're somebody that you know you want to be successful, but just like jiu-jitsu, you love the game. You clearly love the game of business as well, and all these little facets of it. So why don't you talk about that for a moment and how that's going to help set you up for success?
Yeah. So, you know, the fact that, again, aligning my goals with Renzo's and to have jiu-jitsu spread through the world has led me to now focus on, you know, the development of the team worldwide. And so, I'm studying heavily on all the newest technologies and innovations to help the student member experience. You know, we want to provide as much value to the actual member and the actual student as possible. And that's the main concern now. So that's my goal now, is to, you know, not only create, you know, new students and obviously help the students that I have, but also to look into the future and try to innovate and create value in ways that, you know, we haven't been able to do before using these technologies. And as a result, I dug really deep and went way down that rabbit hole. And I've discovered some amazing stuff with technology that we can use for business in these academies nowadays. And the app is the biggest thing. 98% of academies in the entire world are not using an app. The 2% that are using it in a very primitive way. And it's like a paper airplane. It's like they're using a paper airplane when we have access to like a fighter jet, right? So the systems that we have available to us nowadays are so advanced. The app, how the app works is it's in the Apple store and the Droid store. So you have to get it approved, and it works with your billing software. So it's all intertwined, your website, your billing software, and the app. And the app is actually like the actual picture of the app is the brand logo. So that's huge, right? So we all have on our phones the apps on our phones, right? And the square little apps on our phone on the home screen. And now we have our brand, boom, right as one of the apps in your home screen. It has a messaging system within it where you can directly message the whole entire student body, and it'll come up as a little red bubble right on your phone, right? Just like your message, your iMessage or your Droid, how it has that red notification, it does the same thing. Now, we all know what type of feeling that gives all of us when we see messages and stuff like that. So to look and you see messages and then you see the brand, and just, I find that people were downloading the app just to have the brand on their home screen as almost like a picture or a badge, you know? So it really works out in amazing ways. So you can directly message everyone. They can message you back. Okay. So you get a message as the member, hey, we're we're closed today because of snow. I can message you back as a member right to the Academy administration and ask a direct question, right? Like, will you be open tomorrow? And then they can respond directly to that one person. So that's one aspect of the app. Also within the app is all memberships. So when someone comes into the Academy, they take the free class, we walk them to the front desk and we say, all right, the next step is to download our app. And the staff will have them download the app right on the spot, right from the App Store. The whole entire membership is within that app. So our staff will say, hey, do you want to sign up? They'll say yes, and they'll just direct them right to the app. You go right in the app. There's a menu there right for all the memberships, and boom, you click on it and it goes. Now, the biggest plus about this new app style that they have is this specific company, which is called My Studio. I highly recommend My Studio for all academies. My Studio. You actually pass the credit card processing fees on to the member. So historically, we were always charged credit card processing fees. Okay, so it's a couple percent each card transaction. So if you had 200 students, you'd probably be paying about 400 per month in credit card processing fees, or 600 per month in credit card processing fees. Nowadays, we can add that onto the membership. This is the first software that's been able to do that, where you just charge an administrative fee. So when you go to sign up on the membership, say it's $149 for the membership. It'll say $149 membership, $4 administrative fee. That's all. That's all it says. $4 administrative fee. So instead of $149 every month, it comes out to be $153. Okay. The student doesn't really mind, right? They don't care at all, but we're saving a tremendous amount of money. Now, someone inside of, New York City, an academy like New York City, which has 14, 12, 1,300 students, that's a lot of money we're talking about,
No,
so that's another plus.
I pay a lot of those at the restaurant. I'm very familiar. Thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yes. So even in those type of industries, you should, because technology is moving so fast now that you can, even, no matter what industry, you can find these companies now that you pass the fees on to them instead of you paying for them. Another huge part about this app is it has the whole online store, everything. So you can have a complete store on there, everything you want. I have waters, protein drinks, shirts, gis. The shirts and gis, you don't even need an inventory. Okay. So what you can use with this app is a drop ship. You can put it on the app, say for instance, a gi. They purchase the gi on the app. They pay for the gi. You get a notification. You call it Fuji, which we have a wholesale account. Our team has a whole line from Fuji designed for wholesale accounts where the gyms get a discounted price. You drop ship. You order it from them. They send it to your academy, and you give it to the member. So you don't even have to have an inventory at all at your store, which is completely another revolutionary.
That's huge.
Gigantic.
I had Travis Stevens on about 6 weeks ago, and we talked about that, and he was like, like most academies, you have to have what, like $5,000 worth of inventory laying around, and a lot of that you might not make your money back for like 6 to 8 months. And if you're just a one-off, on your own kind of guy, that's a lot of bread. That's a lot of bread to just be staring at every day. Like, wow, I hope these sell. I hope they like this color.
It's very difficult to manage. Yeah.
Amazing.
And so those are a couple more benefits of the app. Another thing that is huge on the app is any event that you're having, you put on the app, seminar, etc. And one of the also coolest things that I find about the app is that there's an actual resource tab. So when you click on this resource tab, there's a menu, and the menu starts at the top. It says student handbook. Okay. You click on it and it's the student handbook, all like 7 or 10 PDF pages of the handbook. Underneath that is Jiu Jitsu fundamentals. You click on that menu and there's a series of videos, okay, that show you all the basics: how to tie your belt, how to pass the guard, how to do an arm lock, how to escape mount, how to not get anxiety. Now, when you click on these specific videos, okay, within the app, it takes you directly to that video on Instagram that I have already created on my Instagram channel. So we have the Renzo Gracie Milford channel, or in the Renzo Gracie Naples Instagram, and we post daily on there. And what we do is we post the move, the mount escape, the how to tie the belt, this, that. So you can actually take that link, that direct link, apply it to the resource tab, and then it'll automatically cross promote. So what is that doing? That's taking the student right to your social media platforms now, right? So that's gigantic. And then last but not least at all is another fourth tab that you click on. And that tab has at the top of it Google review. Click on it, instant Google review. Second, refer a friend. Click on it, refers a friend. Third is Facebook review. Fourth is all the social media channels. This is one menu with all the social media: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, website, and you click right on it. Address, like everything, So this app is we found it just absolutely amazing to work with. Yeah, very amazing.
I love to hear you talk about it too. And social media as well. Super active. Like you said, you're posting daily, TikTok, Instagram feed, Instagram stories, for 3 accounts at least. I think I've seen a little bit of Twitter action from you lately.
Not much, but
yeah, but you're very active on TikTok and multiple Instagram accounts. And you think that's a big help as well? It's something
I think
you're so adamant about it.
Yeah, it's the most underrated part of any business in the world nowadays. And I don't care if it's you're selling.
Oh, let's hope he cues back up here in a minute. We'll give him a few. There he goes. I can see you now, but I can't hear you. There we go. I can hear you.
Hold on 1 second. I think my sound went out here.
Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I got you. Can you hear me?
Hold up. I'm having a little difficulty hearing you right now. My voice is completely gone. Give me 1 sec. Can you hear me now?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, I apparently can't hear you at all, though. So.
Let's see. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Let's see. How about now, brother?
I can hear and see you.
Now I got you.
You good?
Now I got you.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I can hear you the whole time. If for whatever reason it wasn't letting you hear me, but
at all. But now I can.
Yeah, cool.
So
you were saying how important social media is, no matter what business type you're in.
Out of everything we probably talked about today, it's the most important part of the whole entire business is like social media. It's the community. It's how I like to picture it is this. Like years ago when there was a town fair, you would go there as a business, you'd make a table there, you'd put some flyers out in the town fair, everybody would come to your table, and that's how you would promote your business, right? Social media is like that town fair, but the town fair is every single solitary day, every single minute that a person is not at work or doing something important, they go to the town fair. So in other words, they're there every second they're not doing something. So if your presence is not there, that's where your members are spending 95% of their time every day. So it's just super, super important. It's super critical to scale any business. And I've had a lot of good mentors with this. I've been very fortunate to be friends with one of Gary Vaynerchuk's trainers, physical trainers that trained him. Actually, both of his trainers I'm very close with, and they've helped me to teach me about social media in ways that, nobody knows.
Yeah.
For instance, if you just start out, let's just say you just start out an academy. And this is what I'm doing in Naples, okay, to blow it up the social media way. You just opened up an academy. I just opened up in Naples. So now on your Instagram, you can go and you can search, okay, Naples, Florida, and type it in the search bar. When you type it in, it'll come up a menu, tags, accounts, places. You click on places. A whole list of places will come up. You click on that specific town, Naples, Florida. It'll be a location. You click on that location. It'll have a giant page that comes up. On one side, it'll say top posts. On the other side, it'll say recent. If you click in recent, that is every single solitary human that is posted every single solitary time in that area. Okay? So I go on 3-4 hours a day. I go on there. I search Naples. I do all that. I go to that spot. I click on, instead of top rated, because those are the most popular, you go on recent. It's a chronological order, right down 2 seconds ago, all the way till whenever. And you just go down and you click and you like everyone. You comment everyone. Cool picture. Oh, wow, that's amazing. Oh, wow, that's funny. Oh, that's very tasty. That pizza looks good. No matter what it is. So then your brand, okay, because Renzo Gracie Naples, the brand is the logo right on the profile picture. My brand is coming up on every single solitary post that is coming up in the entire Naples area every day. So that leads to so much just awareness in business. You know, for instance, today, right? Today I got 10 new follows on the Naples account. One of them was Mothers of Collier County. 10,000 followers. That's the county of where Naples is. So after 4 or 5 weeks of me doing this giant mothers group, right? And we're teaching martial arts to kids. So think of what an asset that is, I directly message them and say, listen, we're looking to build this society here in Naples. If we can help any of the children, we have a bully-proof class that we do, and boom, 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 boom. We see a police department, right? So I commented the other day, it was the cops arrested some guy for breaking in a house. And I just commented, great job. All of a sudden I had SWAT team members messaging me about classes, So you work that way in social media. And it's all about just branding. It's about pushing the brand in the local community where you're at. And then also with the members. So,
yeah. I noticed you will every now and then put up like an Instagram story of Gary. I had a feeling you were at least somewhat a fan of his. And myself too. I've become quite friendly with his head camera guy, D-Rock. He's been to my restaurant a couple of times.
Oh, and, he's a great guy, man.
He's awesome, man. And I just was texting him the other day, and he gave me very similar advice. And it's great that you point out the approach that you take, because Gary's always saying, you should post like whatever 60 something times a day. He's got these formulas for like how to grow your brand, but it doesn't mean you have to be like a content creator and you're putting up 64 original like pictures and videos and stuff. It's exactly what you're doing. Just commenting, liking, starting conversations on this social 100%. Network that is supposed to be social. And you're a prime example of how that behavior can reap massive benefits for a brand, and particularly a business that you're trying to get off the ground in a remote city. That's like such an amazing anecdote that you shared, that I think people way overlook it and misinterpret that message. That and then you're suffering from analysis paralysis because you're like, I don't know how to create 64 original pieces of content a day. Like, that's crazy. You don't have to.
Well,
you don't have to do that.
It's the equivalent of just going around and going into every single business and handing out a business card. You're talking in that business on social media, so it's the same thing. And as far as the content, right? The content, and they talk a lot about coming up with 60 or 70% or 60 pieces of content per day. We are in one of the most unique industries in the world to be able to have endless content. Yep. Awesome. Endless content. It's martial arts. So just think about one move that one arm lock. There's a million different
Yeah.
points in that one arm lock. You can make 20 different pieces of content about the arm lock. Oh, the thumb has to be up. That's one piece. Oh, the legs have to be wrapped tight. That's another piece. You know, the head has to be controlled. That's a third post, right? It's like endless pieces of martial art. Every movement is a different piece of content.
Right.
So the way that I handle that with the business aspect is whoever is my staff at whatever location, Naples or Connecticut, they're mandated. So for instance, my manager that handles Milford, every day she goes in from 5 to 9, and she has to do one post on the Instagram account and also 7 stories every day. So she does that. Now, where does she get the content? Stripes, or just going in and taking a picture during the class of the instructor, just showing, again, any one of those thousands of moves. And within the moves, there's 100 different variations and pieces of important content, right? So it's endless. You can literally have her go in there, up when you do a takedown, make sure you wrap the arms. Next day, up when you grab the gi, make sure your thumb is inside. It's so endless. It's so endless, you know? And so if you notice on my accounts, the staff has to post every day and then also do 7 stories and within the academy and you know, focus on the members, because that's something also that has changed since the beginning. Just give me 1 sec, guys.
Yep.
Just be a little quiet, okay? Because I'm on the phone. Marco. Yeah, gotta have the kids.
Yeah,
they're good.
I got my oldest picking up my youngest right now. I was like, yo, you gotta go get it from school. When they get older, it's a little nicer that way. They can do things like that for you. Go get you sandwiches and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Post on your Instagram stories.
And so another thing that's huge when we talk about bringing value to the member, we talked about, you know, the app and the stuff like this. When it comes to social media, we tag them. We talk about the members. It's always focusing on the members. Like if you notice on my accounts, you'll see that we're always tagging the members that are in the pictures. This goes back to, I specifically make my staff do this because this goes back to the early 2000s when the New York City Academy, and again, this was the only Gracie Academy in the entire East Coast at the time, and MySpace was around.
Yeah.
Okay. So the Academy had a MySpace page, and the manager back then was very brilliant. What he did was he would make a post every single night on MySpace, and it would be a picture of the training. And in the training, he would mention every member that was in there. Oh, tonight we had a great night of training. As you can see, Matt Serra, Mark Cerrone, Enzo Gracie, Rodrigo Gracie, you know, Carl Massar, whoever was in there, they'd all be on there, right? And it would just be, you know, something that the members loved seeing. They loved seeing, like, wow, my name is actually being mentioned on social media. This is really cool. So it would give you a really good feeling being part of that. So I took that to the next level. And I always remembered how I used to like being tagged or mentioned on those posts in MySpace. So I made my staff, I said, listen, we have to mention every person that you see or that you post about that's in these videos. Try to always tag them if you can. So that's huge too.
Yeah.
And then what happens now? As soon as you tag them, what happens? 99% of the time, as soon as you tag them and mention them in your stories, they repost it onto their stories. And then all their friends see it. So it's a ripple effect that just creates a huge community. It's a huge community. And then within that social media, also, each academy has their own group chat. Okay. So in Renzo Gracie Milford, I have an administrator that goes in and he adds every single member to this private Instagram group. Right. And they delete the people once they leave the academy. So it's an updated group chat of the academy. If you look at those feeds, they're active 24 hours a day. Like if I pull up Milford right now, and even Naples is a brand new academy. There's only 20 students there right now, but it's still, the last post on that little special group was probably about 2-3 hours ago. So they're constantly communicating with each other. It's its own social media platform for only the members. And you'll find they communicate all day long through that group. Memes, funny stuff, bad stuff, complaints, no matter what it is, the whole student body communicates with themselves instantly through this channel. And it blows me away how active the thing is constantly. And now again, I did it, duplicated it with Naples, and I was curious to see. I'm like, all right, it's only 20 members. It's not going to be active at all. It's literally active all day long. There's people within the 20 people, they're posting all day long, you know? So it's another remarkable tool with social media that helps a lot. And then the ads. The ads are, I don't even know where to start with that. It's like imagine if you can have a TV commercial for 100th of the price. That's what it is.
Right.
And then not only have it on TV where everybody sees it, no, have it on to the specific targeted people that you want it to go to specifically. Like parents of Naples. I can specifically target all parents of Naples with one specific ad only, or firefight, police, or no matter what it's just unbelievable media marketing advantage of as well.
And you're referring to paid ads on Instagram, correct?
Yep. TikTok
Were you able to hear me?
TikTok is TikTok's the new one.
Oh, and paid ads.
Yep,
on TikTok.
I can hear you.
Yeah, for sure.
Cutting out?
Yeah. No. I was just
TikTok
making
is
sure
where
you
you're
got
going to
that.
find the most.
So you're doing paid ads on TikTok as well?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Nice. You may be the first jiu-jitsu person I know.
I might be. Yeah, I really might be.
Yeah.
And the way that the social media ads work is as the platform evolves and matures, that's where the attention starts to drift away. So since first it was Facebook was gigantic for young people, college kids, young kids. Older people, all the other kids migrate into and Instagram. Us older people started going in. All the kids started going to Snapchat. Then Snap gets a little more mature. What happens? People go to TikTok, and all the kids go to TikTok. So as the matureness happens within the platform, the attention dies off, and the ads start to become less and less fruitful. So, for instance, as the attention shifted from from Facebook to Instagram, the Facebook ads didn't do as good. The Instagram ads started doing really good because that's where people started going. Now the attention is turning to TikTok. That's where your ads just blow up big. And now the Instagram ads, we're seeing a huge drop off in ROI from that.
Yeah.
You have to follow the platform, you know?
Right. It's constantly changing. Cool. I don't want to keep you much longer. I just have one more question for you. We discussed this briefly at the Academy one of the last times we were there together. Advice for, say, an up and coming purple belt that has ambitions for opening their own school in their local community.
Yeah. So,
hypothetically, asking for a friend,
Yeah. What I can say is to find someone that can be like a mentor to you, that you can actually learn from, go into that business and actually intern for them for a little while, do stuff for free, just so you can learn the ins and outs of that specific business. And, always remember, and this is probably by far the most important advice that I can give. And it's going to be kind of out of left field, but this is absolutely the key. This is something that Matt Serra told me. The success of your academy depends on one single solitary thing, and that is the environment that you create inside of that academy. In other words, like Carlos said it when he first learned jiu-jitsu and taught it to his sons and his brothers. It needs to be a positive place where there's no negativity, there's no politics. Everybody's judged by their performance on the mat and respected, and it's a safe haven, a sanctuary. So that's what he meant by the environment that you create is how your business is going to end up. If you create a beautiful, amazing, respectful environment, because that's what poisons 99% of academies and businesses in the martial art is the environment. If it's too cliquey, if it's too disciplined, if it's too hardcore, if the members are, groupie and gossip, all of that stuff is absolute cancer for any environment. It has to be pure of all of that. And if you focus just on the art and the traditions, naturally that's what will happen. Like in New York City, you walk in there and the fact that it's so pure does the work, the cleaning for the academy, right? It just naturally cleans itself out and keeps itself pure because those traditions and those values are the actual DNA embedded in the room. You know what I mean? So once you start to get gossipy, cliquey, attitudes and, stuff like that, cancer, absolute cancer. And you'll never be successful. So for instance, it has to be so comfortable. And how can you tell? In my classes in Milford, let's just say there's a class with 40 people. You're going to see in my classes, you're going to see 25 guys and 15 girls. So you're going to be like, wow, this is almost, and there's been times when I've had 40 people on the mat, 20 guys, 20 girls. That's unheard of in any academy. Most academies have no girls at all. Why? Because it's too hardcore for them. They're getting beat up and thrown around and disrespected or, not trained with, where the hardcore guys don't want to train with them. No, it has to be an environment that's welcoming and positive for everyone. In that group of women that I have, you'll see, I always go to this one mother, a 45-year-old librarian, bro. She's a librarian, a 45-year-old librarian. And she's in there. She has 2 teenage kids, and her teenage kids are in the class with her, 14 years old, 15 years old. And then her husband, they're both blue belts. The parents, the mom and dad are blue belts. And then the 2 kids are in the class as well. And it's man, you have to create the environment has to be, like Matt Sarah said, a beautiful, productive, happy environment for those type of numbers to show up, right? Yeah. And so that's the gauge that you can tell if you're doing well or not. Now, how does that play out to the member? Well, I can tell you from personal experience. During the roughest times of my entire life, the hardest times of my life, and by far the hardest time was the divorce that I went through, everybody was my family wasn't even really supporting me. Everybody turned against me except that environment in New York City, except that room. I went into that room every single day in my darkest days on this earth and felt like it lifted me up. Everybody embraced me, hugged me, helped me. Mark, don't worry, we're here for you. I went through it too. There was 15 guys on the mat on any given day that went through the same thing that would come up to me and just give me advice. And, it's something that is so pure, right? So that is how you succeed, is creating that. And then look at the value it gives to the actual member. Like I said, when everybody on earth turned their back on me, I went into this environment in my darkest hour and was embraced. It's the strongest support system anyone can ever have, right? And so after the story that goes along with this point, after the whole thing went through and the divorce, the whole dark thing, and I finally survived and got through it. 5 years it took me to get through this mess. After it was done, I never told Renzo until after it was over. And I seen Renzo outside the academy one day after it was over, and I told him the story. And he said, Mark, I heard what was going on. He goes, I heard that you were in such this bad place and all this shit. He goes, why the fuck didn't you call me and ask me for help? I'm fucking pissed at you. You're telling me this now after 5 fucking years. He goes, you're telling me after 5 years, why didn't you come to me for help and ask me? And he looked at me, pissed. And I said, Renzo, you gave me every weapon that I needed for that war you gave me everything I needed a long time ago for that. And he looked and laughed and hugged me.
Yeah.
But it's like, he created that environment for me to give me the tools, not only to combat that situation mentally, but then the support system to go in those dark days and just be supported also. So I didn't need to tell him. He already gave me everything. So to provide that for a human being is how you fucking win in business. That's it. That's what it all boils down to, brother. So that's the best advice I can give you. When you do set sail, create that. Everything else it will come to you. You know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
A couple other things in the dark about, like in terms of requirements, like in terms of, you know, do you have to be a black belt to open an academy? Can you open prior? Is it
Yep.
to affiliate
So the association
or do your own thing? Mm-hmm.
So in the Renzo Gracie Association, as far as we're concerned as a team, we absolutely promote all of the students to join us in the association and you know, get up to a high rank, and then open up a Renzo Gracie Academy. And we welcome all the students to do that if they're able to do that, and that's their ambition, and to be part of the brand. Now, if you wanted to go into establish your own brand, we absolutely support that, and Renzo supports that fully as well. And we're absolutely here to assist in anything they need for that. But if you're wanting to go the brand route, all students are open to do that, and we encourage all of our students to do that. Now, as far as the requirements, we do have a bunch of requirements to meet, but it's very simple. You just have to be, first of all, in very good standing with your professor, right? And that professor obviously has to be within good standing within Renzo, and we verify that. And there's a procedure where you have to be verified every year to stay in good standing. And then also, usually you have to be a brown or black belt to open, unless it's in a very, very remote area where there's no jiu-jitsu at all, right? So there's no jiu-jitsu academies in a very unpopular area, you know, within a 15-mile radius, right? Then we authorize purple belts to do it. But, you know, we usually like brown and black belts. You can open one at brown, but again, it has to be, you know, area specific and kind of subjective. And then, but that's really it. That we do encourage our students all across the association in all of the 93 academies to look to, you know, join us to help spread the team around the world.
Amazing.
And there's an association fee that you'll have to pay, you know, per month, but it's a very small fee compared to what you'll be providing in the you know, the life that it will give you to help to spread the word and spread the art, because it absolutely is a beautiful thing to do. It makes going to work easy when you're helping people so much, you know. That's what makes it easy for me. That's why people ask me all the time, like, how the fuck do you do this? How do you teach 3 days in Connecticut and then 3 days in Florida? And bro, you remember I was doing it in
Midtown too, Wednesday or Friday afternoons, Midtown. Yep.
For 3 months, or no, maybe 6 months. No.
Yeah, it was a while. It was
Well,
it was more than 3.
In New York City. Yeah, I was doing it for a whole year, over a year. I was teaching in New York and Milford, but then I added Naples. So at a time for 2 or 3 months, I was doing Connecticut, Florida, and New York every single week. And people always ask me, like, how the fuck do you do this? It's impossible. You're not gonna be able to. You're gonna burn out. I'm like, listen, I can't burn out when I love it so much. To me, it's so easy. Like, when I get there and I teach a class, I look at the students and I'm like, man, I look forward to developing you and to helping you so much. And I see the smiles and seeing them getting better and develop, and it benefiting their life and their friends' life and their family. That's more fuel than I need to get up every single day. So it makes it super, super easy if you really love it.
amazing. One of the things that I got from Renzo early on in my relationship with him is that he's very generous, and
yes,
you are a pretty
very generous.
You're a pretty amazing example of that as well. I lost your volume for a minute there. I'm not able to hear you right now.
How about now?
There, I got you.
Yeah. So you're saying about Renzo?
I was just saying you're a really good extension of that, in my opinion. You just seem like you've always been super generous with me, even taking the time out right now to do this, and I think that's one of the things that also fuels your success and what makes it easier for you. Is that like you were just saying, you get so excited by helping people. That it doesn't feel like work. Then it just feels amazing.
It doesn't. Very true, bro. And anytime, anything I could do to help you or any member of the team, I'm always here for anybody. So, yeah.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. I'm going to let you go. I know you got your kids and probably have some more classes to teach today. I got to fire this restaurant. I got to fire this restaurant up here pretty soon. So I'm about to hop into it myself.
Yes, bro. And if you can, send me the link for this. I'll post it and push it out there. And also, I can't wait to get down to your restaurant sometime soon, bro.
Yeah.
I have to get down there.
Come through, man.
I have to. I promise. I'm gonna come through soon, bro.
Cool.
For sure.
Yeah, there'll definitely be some post production of this, and you'll get it for sure.
Awesome, my bro. Good to talk to you, man. And I'll see you at the Academy, bro.
Yeah, I can't wait to take it. Yeah, of course. I can't wait to take another class with you again in the near future. So.
Oh yeah, I'll be teaching back there soon, brother. I'll see you
soon,
bro.
Thanks, man.
Take care, brother.
All right, bye.